Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about a profound principle that can transform your life act as nothing affects you. In a world filled with unpredictable ups and downs, mastering this mindset is the key to inner peace and unstoppable resilience. Today, I want to share with you a principle that has the potential to revolutionize your life, acting as if nothing affects you. In a world that constantly throws challenges, criticisms, and setbacks your way, maintaining a calm and composed demeanor is not just a desirable trait, but a vital skill. When we learn to detach ourselves emotionally from external circumstances, we gain an incredible sense of freedom and control over our reactions. This doesn't mean suppressing feelings or ignoring reality. Rather, it's about cultivating a mindset that allows you to observe situations objectively without being overwhelmed by them. Developing this resilience starts with understanding that your true power lies in your response, not in the events themselves. When you realize that external factors cannot truly harm your inner peace unless you let them, you begin to see life differently. You recognize that your peace of mind is an internal possession, something that cannot be taken away unless you surrender it. The way you think about and interpret events plays a crucial role in how unaffected you are. If you constantly see setbacks as personal failures or threats, they will naturally cause emotional turmoil. But if you view obstacles as opportunities for growth and learning, you shift your perspective and diminish their power over you. This shift in mindset is fundamental because it allows you to remain calm in the face of adversity. When you act as if nothing affects you, you create a mental boundary that shields you from unnecessary suffering. You become less reactive and more deliberate in your actions, which ultimately leads to greater clarity and peace of mind. Such a mindset doesn't develop overnight. It requires consistent effort and self-awareness. Recognizing your emotional triggers and consciously choosing not to be controlled by them is a step toward mastering this attitude. Detachment from external validation is another critical aspect. Many people base their self-worth on how others perceive them, which makes them vulnerable to external opinions and judgments. But true strength comes from within. When you stop seeking approval from others, you free yourself from the endless cycle of validation and criticism. You become more grounded, more confident in your own worth, and less affected by fleeting opinions. Acting as if nothing affects you means you are secure enough in yourself to withstand criticism, rejection, or failure without losing your composure. This inner confidence is built through self-awareness and consistent practice. It's about understanding that your value isn't determined by external circumstances, but by your internal conviction. Practicing emotional detachment involves cultivating a sense of perspective. When faced with negativity or chaos, ask yourself whether this situation will matter in the long run. Often, we give too much power to temporary setbacks or superficial judgments. By stepping back and viewing the bigger picture, you realize that most issues are transient and insignificant in the grand scheme of your life. This awareness allows you to maintain your composure and act with purpose, rather than impulsively reacting to every situation. Techniques like mindfulness and meditation can assist in developing this skill by helping you observe your thoughts and emotions without attachment. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, enabling you to navigate life's storms with grace and equanimity. Self-awareness also plays a pivotal role in acting unaffected. When you know yourself deeply, your strengths, weaknesses, and emotional triggers, you gain the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This awareness gives you control over your reactions, making it easier to stay centered regardless of external chaos. It's about understanding that your emotional state doesn't have to be dictated by outside influences, but can be managed through conscious choice. Discipline is essential here. It's the daily commitment to maintaining your inner peace, even when circumstances try to pull you in different directions. The more you practice self-control and emotional regulation, the stronger your ability to act unaffected becomes. It's not about being indifferent, but about choosing how to respond, regardless of what's happening around you. Transforming challenges into opportunities for growth is a hallmark of this mindset. When you act as if nothing affects you, setbacks no longer derail your progress. Instead, they become lessons that strengthen your character and resilience. This perspective shifts your focus from dwelling on problems to seeking solutions and learning. It empowers you to approach life's difficulties with curiosity and confidence rather than fear and frustration. The more you practice this attitude, the more natural it becomes to face adversity head on knowing that your inner peace remains intact. Over time, acting as if nothing affects you becomes a way of life, a way of embracing life's uncertainties with courage, clarity, and calmness. Today, I want to talk about a powerful mindset, acting as if nothing affects you. In a world filled with constant change, unpredictability, and external pressures, cultivating this attitude can be transformative. When you approach life with a calm and unshakable demeanor, you gain a level of inner strength that shields you from unnecessary suffering. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or emotionally numb. Rather, it's about developing a sense of detachment that allows you to observe situations without becoming overwhelmed by them. The first step is understanding that your emotional well-being is largely within your control. External events are inevitable, but your reactions are your choice. Recognizing this empowers you to adopt a perspective that doesn't give away your peace of mind to fleeting circumstances. When you realize that your happiness and tranquility are not dependent on external factors, you begin to reclaim your power. You see that setbacks, criticisms, or failures are simply moments in your journey, not defining moments that diminish your worth or stability. This awareness forms the foundation of acting unaffected, helping you to respond with clarity rather than impulsiveness. Developing this mindset requires training your mind to remain calm amid chaos. One effective way is through intentional practice, being mindful of your thoughts and emotions and consciously choosing not to react impulsively. It's about creating a mental space where you can pause, evaluate, and then respond with purpose rather than reacting instinctively. With consistent effort, this mental discipline becomes second nature. Over time, you learn to differentiate between what truly matters and what is not, allowing you to conserve your emotional energy for the things that align with your values and goals. This process also involves cultivating resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity without losing your composure. When you act as if nothing affects you, you don't suppress your feelings. Instead, you acknowledge them and then decide not to let them control your actions. This approach fosters greater emotional stability and a deeper sense of self-control. Another critical aspect is detachment from external validation. Many people base their self-esteem on how others perceive them, which makes them vulnerable to external opinions and judgments. When you depend on others for validation, your mood and confidence fluctuate with external circumstances. But when you internalize your worth and act as if nothing external can threaten your inner peace, you become less susceptible to these fluctuations. This internal confidence is built through self-awareness and self-acceptance. Recognizing your intrinsic value regardless of external approval allows you to stay grounded during criticism or praise alike. Acting unaffected means not seeking approval, but rather being secure in your own identity. This confidence reduces anxiety and enables you to navigate social and personal challenges with ease. It's a mindset that nurtures independence and resilience, empowering you to stand firm in your principles and beliefs. Practicing emotional detachment also involves gaining perspective. When faced with difficulties, ask yourself whether this situation will matter in the long run. Often, we magnify problems because we focus on the immediate discomfort rather than the bigger picture. By stepping back and viewing the situation objectively, you realize that many issues are temporary and insignificant in the grand scheme of your life. This perspective helps you maintain composure and avoid unnecessary stress. Techniques like mindfulness meditation can aid in developing this skill, helping you observe your thoughts and emotions without attachment. Over time, this practice cultivates a sense of calmness that persists regardless of external chaos. Acting as if nothing affects you is an ongoing process that requires patience, discipline, and self-awareness. It's about choosing to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, maintaining your inner peace amid whatever circumstances life presents. The journey toward this mindset also involves transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. When you act as if nothing affects you, setbacks become lessons rather than obstacles. You see failures as stepping stones that teach resilience and perseverance. This attitude encourages curiosity and a growth mindset, empowering you to face difficulties with confidence rather than despair. Over time, this approach becomes ingrained in your character. You develop a sense of inner stability that allows you to move forward with purpose, regardless of external circumstances. Acting unaffected is not about denying reality, but about mastering your internal response to it. It's a conscious choice to remain centered, calm, and composed, turning every experience, positive or negative, into a chance for learning and self-improvement. This mindset elevates your ability to live intentionally, with clarity, courage, and unwavering peace. Adopting the mindset of acting as if nothing affects you is a profound way to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs. It begins with understanding that external circumstances, no matter how challenging or joyous, are transient and beyond our full control. When you internalize this truth, you realize that your peace of mind hinges primarily on your perception and response rather than the events themselves. This shift in perspective allows you to maintain composure even in difficult situations, preventing emotional turbulence from overtaking you. Instead of reacting impulsively to every setback or criticism, you develop a habit of observing these external factors with a calm detachment, recognizing that they are temporary and often beyond your influence. Such a mindset doesn't imply indifference, but rather a conscious choice to preserve your inner tranquility by not letting external chaos disturb your inner balance. It's a discipline that requires ongoing practice, patience, and self-awareness, but the reward is a steadiness that empowers you to handle adversity with grace and clarity. Building this resilience involves cultivating a sense of perspective that diminishes the significance of temporary troubles. When faced with adversity, you can ask yourself whether this issue will matter in a week, a month, or a year. Many problems tend to lose their grip on us when viewed from a broader vantage point. This perspective helps you detach emotionally from immediate reactions and instead respond thoughtfully. Practicing mindfulness meditation or deep breathing exercises can reinforce this ability by helping you stay present and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Over time, this mental habit becomes ingrained, allowing you to remain centered regardless of external circumstances. Acting as if nothing affects you also means reframing failures and setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than personal defeats. When you see obstacles as lessons rather than threats, your resilience deepens and your emotional reactions become less intense. This attitude fosters a sense of inner strength that isn't easily shaken by external events, enabling you to maintain focus and purpose even amidst chaos. Another vital aspect is the cultivation of self-confidence rooted in internal validation rather than external approval. When your sense of self-worth depends on others' opinions, your mood and confidence become fragile, susceptible to praise and criticism alike. But when you act as if nothing affects you, you internalize your value, recognizing that your worth isn't dictated by external circumstances, but by your own sense of integrity and self-acceptance. This internal confidence provides a buffer against negativity and rejection, allowing you to stand firm in your beliefs and actions. It also reduces anxiety and the need for external validation, freeing you to pursue your goals with clarity and resilience. Developing this self-assurance involves deep self-awareness, honest self-reflection, and a commitment to personal growth. When you genuinely believe in your intrinsic worth, external judgments lose their power over your emotional state. Acting unaffected becomes a natural extension of this inner certainty, enabling you to navigate social interactions and life's challenges with composure and authenticity. The practice of detachment also involves understanding that most of what we worry about is either within our control or outside of it. By focusing only on what you can influence and accepting what you cannot, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and anxiety. This doesn't mean resignation, but rather a realistic acceptance that some things are beyond your reach. When you accept this reality, you stop wasting energy resisting or obsessing over uncontrollable factors. Instead, you direct your mental and emotional resources toward constructive actions and solutions. Techniques such as visualization, journaling, or affirmations can reinforce this mindset, helping you stay grounded and centered. Over time, acting as if nothing affects you becomes a natural response, allowing you to face life's inevitable uncertainties with equanimity. It's a continuous journey of cultivating inner peace, resilience, and clarity, grounded in the understanding that your true power lies in your response, not in the external circumstances that surround you. This attitude transforms challenges into opportunities for growth and helps you live with greater purpose, freedom, and calmness. Embracing the mindset of acting as if nothing affects you is a powerful approach to achieving emotional resilience and inner peace. It begins with recognizing that many of our reactions are driven by our perceptions rather than the actual events themselves. When you start viewing external circumstances, whether they're positive or negative, as temporary and outside your direct control, you begin to detach your sense of well-being from fleeting situations. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or denying reality. Instead, It involves developing a conscious awareness that your true strength lies in how you respond rather than what happens around you. By cultivating this perspective, you create a mental space where you can observe challenges without becoming overwhelmed, allowing you to maintain composure and clarity even in the face of adversity. Over time, this attitude helps you develop a sense of steadiness that isn't easily disturbed by external chaos, fostering resilience and emotional stability. To deepen this mindset, it's essential to practice mindfulness and self-awareness regularly. When faced with stress or emotional upheaval, pause and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Ask yourself whether the situation is worth the emotional energy you're investing or if it's something that will pass with time. This mental discipline helps you detach from automatic reactions and instead choose responses that align with your long-term well-being. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, or reflection can reinforce this habit, making it easier to stay grounded during turbulent moments. As you become more adept at viewing external events with a detached perspective, you'll notice your reactions becoming calmer and more measured. Acting as if nothing affects you also involves shifting your focus toward what you can control, your thoughts, attitudes, and actions, and accepting what you cannot. This acceptance brings a sense of inner peace and reduces unnecessary suffering caused by resistance or frustration. Another crucial element is building confidence rooted in internal validation rather than external approval. When your sense of self-worth depends heavily on others' opinions, your emotional state becomes fragile and vulnerable to criticism or praise. Conversely, when you act as if nothing affects you, you develop a strong inner foundation where your value is intrinsic and not contingent on external validation. This internal confidence is cultivated through self-awareness, self-acceptance, and a clear understanding of your core values. It allows you to stand firm in your beliefs and decisions, regardless of external circumstances or opinions. As a result, you become less reactive to criticism and less dependent on external affirmation for your happiness. This independence of mind fosters resilience, enabling you to face challenges with a sense of neutrality and strength, knowing that your self-worth is secure and unaffected by external fluctuations. Understanding that many worries are based on assumptions or exaggerated fears also plays a vital role in adopting this mindset. Often, we invest emotional energy in scenarios that are unlikely to materialize or that will pass with time. By practicing perspective taking, asking yourself whether the issue will matter in a week or a month, you can diminish the importance of minor setbacks and avoid unnecessary suffering. This doesn't mean ignoring problems, but approaching them with a calm, rational attitude. Techniques such as visualization, journaling, or reframing negative thoughts help reinforce this outlook, allowing you to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. Over time, acting as if nothing affects you becomes a natural habit, enabling you to navigate life's uncertainties with a sense of calm and equanimity. It transforms your experience of life from one of constant emotional volatility to one of steady presence and resilience, empowering you to live more intentionally and peacefully amidst the inevitable fluctuations of existence. Adopting the attitude of acting as if nothing affects you is a profound way to cultivate emotional resilience and inner peace. It begins with understanding that many external events, whether they bring joy or pain, are fleeting and beyond our complete control. When you internalize this truth, you shift your focus from trying to manipulate or control the outside world to mastering your internal responses. This mindset encourages you to remain composed regardless of circumstances, allowing you to observe life's ups and downs with a calm detachment. Instead of reacting impulsively or emotionally to every situation, you develop a habit of responding thoughtfully and deliberately. This perspective doesn't imply indifference or apathy, but rather a conscious choice to preserve your inner tranquility by not allowing external chaos to disturb your peace. It's a mental discipline that, with practice, helps create a sense of steadiness that's resilient to external disturbances, fostering a sense of strength that remains intact even amid adversity. Developing this mindset involves cultivating mindfulness and self-awareness. When faced with difficulties, pause and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Ask yourself whether the situation warrants the emotional investment you're giving it or if it will pass with time. Many problems tend to lose their grip when viewed from a broader perspective. This practice helps you detach emotionally from immediate reactions and approach challenges with calmness and clarity. Techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, or reflective journaling reinforce this ability, making it easier to stay centered during stressful moments. Over time, acting as if nothing affects you becomes a natural response, not a forced effort. It's about training your mind to see external events as temporary and insignificant in the grand scheme of things, which diminishes their power over your emotional state. This attitude also involves focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, attitudes, and actions, while accepting what you cannot. Such acceptance brings a sense of peace and reduces frustration, anxiety, and suffering caused by resistance. Another key element is building inner confidence that is rooted in self-acceptance rather than external validation. When your self-esteem relies on the approval of others, your emotional well-being becomes fragile, vulnerable to criticism or praise. However, when you act as if nothing affects you, you develop a sense of self-worth that is independent of external opinions. This internal confidence is cultivated through honest self-reflection, embracing your strengths and weaknesses, and aligning your actions with your core values. When your self-esteem is anchored internally, external events, whether they're praise or blame, lose their power to shake your sense of stability. You become less reactive to judgments and more grounded in your own sense of purpose and authenticity. This resilience allows you to navigate life's challenges with a calm and steady mind, knowing that your worth isn't dictated by external circumstances, but by your own inner conviction. Understanding that many worries are based on assumptions or exaggerated fears also plays a significant role. Often, we invest emotional energy into scenarios that are unlikely to occur or that will resolve themselves in time. Practicing perspective taking, asking whether the issue will matter in a week or a month, helps diminish the perceived importance of minor setbacks. This mental shift prevents overreaction and reduces unnecessary suffering. Techniques like visualization, reframing negative thoughts, or focusing on solutions instead of problems reinforce this outlook. Acting as if nothing affects you becomes a habit rooted in this broader perspective, allowing you to face life's uncertainties with equanimity. It transforms your experience from one of constant emotional upheaval to one of calm presence and resilience. Ultimately, this approach enables you to live more intentionally, embracing life's fluctuations with a steady heart and an open mind, recognizing that true strength comes from within and that your peace is largely a matter of perception and choice. Adopting the mindset of acting as if nothing affects you can be a transformative approach to navigating life's inevitable challenges. It starts with recognizing that many external events, be they praise, criticism, success, or failure, are transient and often beyond our control. When you internalize this understanding, you begin to detach your sense of self-worth from fleeting circumstances. Instead of reacting impulsively or emotionally to every situation, you cultivate a sense of calm and composure. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or suppressing your feelings, but rather developing a mental stance that allows you to observe life's ups and downs without being overwhelmed. It's about cultivating resilience by choosing your responses consciously, rather than letting external stimuli dictate your emotional state. Over time, this mindset fosters an inner stability that remains steady regardless of external chaos, enabling you to face adversity with grace and clarity. A crucial aspect of this approach involves mindfulness and self-awareness. When confronted with stressful or upsetting events, pause and examine your thoughts and feelings objectively. Ask yourself whether the situation truly warrants the emotional energy you're investing or if it's something that will pass with time. Many problems tend to diminish in significance when viewed from a broader perspective. Practicing this detachment helps you realize that most external circumstances are temporary and do not define your core self. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, or reflective journaling can strengthen this habit, making it easier to stay centered when external pressures mount. As you become more adept at acting as if nothing affects you, you naturally develop a more measured response to life's challenges, reducing unnecessary suffering and emotional turbulence. This mindset also involves focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, attitudes, and actions, while accepting those you cannot change. Such acceptance cultivates inner peace and diminishes frustration, anxiety, and feelings of helplessness. Building internal confidence is another key element. When your self-esteem is rooted in the approval of others, your emotional well-being becomes fragile and easily disturbed by criticism or setbacks. Conversely, acting as if nothing affects you encourages you to develop a sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation. This internal confidence is cultivated through self-awareness, embracing your imperfections, and aligning your actions with your values. When your sense of value is intrinsic, external opinions have less power to shake your stability. You become less reactive to praise and blame and more anchored in your sense of authenticity. This resilience allows you to navigate difficult situations with a calm, steady mind, knowing that your value isn't contingent on external circumstances, but on your own inner conviction. Understanding that many worries stem from assumptions or exaggerated fears also plays a significant role. Often, we invest emotional energy into scenarios that are unlikely to occur or that will resolve with time. Practicing perspective taking, asking whether the issue will matter in a week or a month, can diminish the perceived importance of minor setbacks. This mental reframing prevents overreaction and reduces suffering caused by overestimating the significance of temporary problems. Techniques such as visualization, positive affirmations, or focusing on solutions instead of problems reinforce this attitude. Acting as if nothing affects you becomes a natural extension of this broader perspective, allowing you to face life's uncertainties with equanimity and composure. It transforms your experience from one of constant emotional upheaval into a steady, resilient presence, empowering you to live intentionally and peacefully amid the fluctuations of life. Cultivating a sense of detachment also involves understanding the impermanence of everything. Recognizing that all things, people, possessions, circumstances, are transient helps you develop a healthy perspective that reduces attachment and craving. When you accept that change is an inherent part of existence, you become less anxious about loss or disappointment. This acceptance fosters a sense of freedom and flexibility, enabling you to respond to life's challenges with an open heart and mind. Acting as if nothing affects you in this way doesn't mean suppressing feelings, but rather acknowledging their transient nature and choosing not to be controlled by them. It's about cultivating a resilient, balanced inner state that allows you to navigate life's inevitable ebbs and flows with serenity and strength, living more fully in the present moment without being weighed down by unnecessary worries or emotional upheaval. Adopting the mindset of acting as if nothing affects you is a powerful way to cultivate emotional resilience and inner peace. It begins with understanding that much of what happens externally is transient and often outside of our control. When you internalize this truth, you stop giving excessive importance to external events, whether they are praise, criticism, success, or failure. Instead, you develop a mental stance of calm detachment, allowing you to observe life's fluctuations without becoming overwhelmed. This isn't about becoming indifferent or emotionally numb, but about creating a space between stimulus and response, where you choose how to react rather than reacting impulsively. Over time, this approach helps you build a steady inner foundation that remains unaffected by external chaos, enabling you to face challenges with clarity and composure. A vital component of this attitude is cultivating mindfulness and self-awareness. When confronted with difficult situations, pause and examine your thoughts and feelings objectively. Ask yourself whether the event truly warrants an emotional response or if it's something that will pass with time. Many problems tend to lose their significance when viewed from a broader perspective. Practicing this mental distancing allows you to see external events as temporary, reducing their power to disturb your inner peace. Techniques like meditation, deep breathing, or journaling can reinforce this habit, gradually making it easier to stay centered amid external turbulence. Acting as if nothing affects you becomes a natural response, rooted in this broader perspective that emphasizes acceptance and internal control. This mindset also involves focusing on what you can influence, your reactions, attitudes, and choices, while accepting what you cannot change. Such acceptance fosters tranquility and minimizes frustration and suffering caused by resistance or denial. Building internal confidence is another essential aspect. When your self-esteem is based on external validation, approval from others, or societal success, it becomes fragile and easily shaken. Acting as if nothing affects you encourages you to develop a sense of self-worth grounded within. This internal confidence is cultivated through honest self-reflection, embracing your strengths and weaknesses, and aligning your actions with your core values. When your sense of self is secure internally, external opinions have less impact on your emotional state. You become less reactive to praise or criticism and more anchored in your authentic self. This resilience empowers you to navigate difficult situations with a calm mind, knowing that your worth isn't dependent on external circumstances, but on your own inner conviction and principles. Understanding that many worries are based on assumptions or exaggerated fears also plays a crucial role. Often, We invest emotional energy into scenarios that are unlikely or temporary, magnifying their importance. Practicing perspective taking, asking whether the issue will matter in a week or a month, can help diminish the perceived significance of minor setbacks. This mental reframing prevents overreaction and reduces suffering caused by overestimating the importance of temporary problems. Techniques like visualization, positive affirmations, or focusing on solutions instead of problems reinforce this broader outlook. Acting as if nothing affects you becomes a natural extension of this understanding, enabling you to face uncertainties with calmness and confidence. It transforms your experience from one of constant emotional upheaval into a steady presence that is prepared to handle whatever life throws your way. Embracing the impermanence of all things helps deepen this mindset, recognizing that everything, people, possessions, circumstances, is transient, fosters non-attachment and reduces anxiety about loss or change. When you accept impermanence, you cultivate a sense of freedom, realizing that clinging to stability or control is futile. Acting as if nothing affects you in this context doesn't mean suppressing feelings, but rather acknowledging their temporary nature and choosing not to be controlled or overwhelmed by them. This acceptance nurtures a resilient, balanced inner state that allows you to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs with serenity and strength. Living with this perspective helps you focus on the present moment, appreciating what is without undue attachment or fear of loss, and maintaining a calm, steady heart regardless of external circumstances.